Do you struggle with something, and are you like me, hesitant asking for something? Hey friends, I'm Ronja from CCM, where our mission is to help people to a better life mentally and emotionally. I don't know why you are struggling with asking for things, but for me it's two things that make me have a hard time doing this. And the first thing is that I want to do it on my own. I want to feel like an adult, feel like I have everything put together. I have a sense of, I have this pride around it that I am the one who needs to know things. I am the one who needs to do things or know things and do everything right. I have a pride in that, and asking for help make me be less this independent woman. And the second thing that make me have a bit hard with this is that I don't want to be a burden for someone. For me, it's very important to give and to be the one who gives to other, who makes other lives easier. And I don't want to be the person who makes it more difficult, or that I am a burden, or that I am a problem for someone. And I think for you, it's probably good for you to know why you have problem with asking, because when you know your whys, when you know where it comes from, or when you know what feeling is behind it, it's easier to don't give in to the feeling. Some questions you don't need to ask someone, because some questions are more within you, and when you ask someone, they will ask you questions to give you the answer. And this is about what you want in your life, or what you want to create or be in your life. And what I have noticed is when I write the question down, or when I am saying the question out loud, it's easy for my mind to know that, oh, this is a genuine question she has, because we have in our thoughts, we have millions of questions there. Maybe not every day, but we have so many questions that pops up over and over, and it's just a thought, and most of them we don't really care about. So saying it out loud or writing it down, your brain knows that this is important. And if I do that before I go to sleep or before I meditate, it's easy that it makes it easier for the answer to pop up. When I write down a question on the evening and sleep, and most of the times when I woke up, I had this answer. And sometimes the answer pops up during the day, and then I don't really remember that I did ask the question, and I go back and look at my notes on the evening and say, oh, I just got that answer. So sometimes just saying and writing and doing something afterwards that is a bit calms your mind, because many of the answer we need, it's a bit blocked, because it's not meant for us to have all the information in our head all the time, because we will get overwhelmed. So it's some blocks, and when you ask the question before, the blocks will calms down a bit, or when you are calming your mind down, it's easier for the answer to pop up. One thing that I have noticed that helps me when I need to ask someone for help, because it's about doing something that I can't do on my own, because it's too much work for a person, or maybe it's those kind of things that I'm not good at doing. In those situations, I have noticed that asking myself, what kind of friendship do I have with the person or with the persons? Do I have a friendship where I want them to ask me for help if it is something that I can help with? Or is it a friendship that I wouldn't want them to ask me for help? Most of the time, because how I am, normally I do want to help people. Sometimes I say no because I don't have time, or that I have other things that I need to prioritize. But most of the times I want other people to ask me for help, because I want to help, and it's hard to know what you can do and what you can help with. So by saying that, because if I want them to ask me for help, why shouldn't I ask them for help? Because it's not like a friendship that is equal if it's just one who will help the other. Both needs to help. So if I expect the other person to ask me, then I should ask that person. This is what I do to handle like emotional support. I have a bit hard getting help from others emotionally, like letting people in on my emotions, and I should be better on it, because it's good to be vulnerable and talk about emotions with people, and most of the times you like deepen your connection with them when you do. So if you can talk to someone with your emotional problems, you really should. But for me, I have a bit struggle with this, and the reason why I have a bit struggle with it is because sometimes, or most of the times, when I let someone in on my emotions, it very often ends up in me helping that other person instead, because when I let them in on my emotions, they start to feel worse, and I don't want them to feel worse, so I lift them up again. Which means that when I let people in, most of the times it just ends up being more work for me and being more about me giving them support than I actually get support. Anyway, so the thing that I have noticed that helped me, and have helped me for like many years, like I did do this without even thinking about it. It was just when I started to like thought about it, how do I do in this situation, when I realized, oh, this is how I do. Anyway, the thing that I do is that I pretend talking to someone, like I talk to myself. And I say, and sometimes it is really like I talking to myself, and I know, like I pretend talking to myself, because I have really good advice sometimes. So talking to myself, let me give myself my own advice. But sometimes I feel like I need advice from someone else, and then I start to pretend talking to them. And sometimes it's even people that isn't here, like my grand, like maybe it's someone I don't even know, like I have just heard a name from them, and I'm like talking to them. And sometimes it's people that I don't really talk to anymore, because we have gone separate ways from different reasons. And talking to them and getting their advice for me is really good, because I can get their advice, because, or actually it's my advice in their form. But most of the times when you know someone, maybe not someone you never met, like a grand person, like most of the times you know a bit what they will answer. So I just hear their voice and what they would answer me, and I had that kind of conversation. Because when I do that, when I'm talking to myself, I feel the support, and I feel like I get emotional support without having the burden of what you said with the other person getting hurt and being me needing to like lift them up. I hope you liked the tips in this video, and like, yeah, I also want to point out again that if you have someone that you can talk about with your emotions, do that. Those times when I have talked to someone and it doesn't end up with me being the one lifting the other person up, it has been much better than me just talking to myself.